Do you have something inspiring to say? Had you always known that your voice can contribute to the world? Is now the time? Yes, now is the time. The world is waiting for you. Welcome to the Open Mic Show on Inspired Choices Network. Today, we have an inspiring guest who is ready to share their voice with the world. Now, on to the show.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Open Mic on Inspired Choices Network. I'm your host, Hayley Sue, and not every day, but every open mic, we have an amazing guest that brings an inspiring message to our audience, and today is Kate Benner. She is joining us all the way from, where did you say, Northern California?
Yes, Northern California.
Welcome, Kate. I'm so honored to have you on the show today. Let's just dive right in. Normally I do a little intro about you, but I think your story lends so well to what we're going to talk about today, which is busting the hustle, right?
Yeah. So thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to share my story and my journey. So I'll just kind of jump in. So I grew up, born and raised in California, Southern California. But I actually came up to UC Davis to get my BS at the school. And then I decided, you know what, I want to be a teacher. I want to, inspire the future generations. I got my master's and I kind of just jumped right into being a teacher at 22, 23. I was really young and I just kind of did it. And I went in and was working 60, 70-hour weeks, thought that was normal because, I was trying to make the world a better place and try,
that's what we do.
Right. Just that was the normal, like my dad was an attorney. He worked just so much. And so I just felt like, oh, this is what people do when they become an adult. They just, their life is their work. And, it came to a point after 7 years, I was really, really burnt out, felt overwhelmed with just the social, emotional, obligations of being a teacher, but also feeling like I had no room for anything else in my life. And I kind of was like, is this it? Is this what we do? Are we just waking up and going to work and our work rules our lives? This is so unfulfilling. Like, I know I can do more than this. I love my students. I love that I'm able to make a difference every day, but this is not how I pictured my life. So after 7 years, I quit. And it was a really, really hard decision to leave, but I knew that I could make an impact elsewhere. So I quickly transitioned into coaching. I originally was a health and fitness coach, personal training, workout plans. I loved it, but I was still working 60, 70 hours a week, like probably more so, because I was working from home and my computer was right in front of me. It was during the pandemic and nobody else was doing anything other than working. We were stuck inside and that kind of had a wake up moment of like, I chose to be an entrepreneur because I wanted the time freedom, but I'm not getting the time freedom. So what is happening? And I really had to reevaluate how I was navigating being a business owner and realize that as much as I love health and fitness, maybe it's not necessarily something that is what drives my passion. And I really wanted to work with other entrepreneurs and figure out how to shift their mindset to be more present, to enjoy the fruits of their labor without burning themselves out, because we didn't become business owners to not enjoy the people and your life around you. So yeah, that's it.
I'm so glad you just said that. We think as entrepreneurs that we have to spend more time in our work and on our businesses.
Sure.
And I think we can get lost in that sometimes. Mm-hmm. I was actually just speaking to our producer before you came on, saying I can get so focused on something that even my two children become secondary to that.
Yeah.
And my eldest is now 14, and I've suddenly gone, how did I get to have a 14-year-old? I've only got a few more years, and then he will be out of here.
Yeah.
So we have to learn to take that step back, and that's what you're here to help us do, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It's all about balance because, there are going to be times when you have to put in a little extra effort into your life or into your business. And I've always grown up with the mindset of like moderation and finding balance. And so that's really the mindset that I teach people, is to figure out how you're going to balance these things, because it's not about all or nothing. It's not about, focusing so much that you forget everything else on either your life or your business. It's really about finding that middle ground, and it's achievable. I think, there's this hustle culture mindset of like, I'm going to get up at 5 a.m. and I'm going to work till midnight. And that's how you're supposed to live your life. And there's a lot of like masculine energy around that, where, you see a lot of entrepreneurs who are men and who are like, I'm in this like hustle grind. And as women, we don't really, that's not really how we flow. We have a lot of different roles, and we really do struggle with trying to be perfect in those roles. So really accepting that you can balance it all and not feel like you have to go all or nothing in one or the other.
Absolutely. And as women, our flow changes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, with the seasons for me.
Oh, yeah.
I like to get up at 5 a.m. In winter, not so much.
Right. Yeah. And that's too, like, it can change. And that's what I teach people, is that there's seasons, like actual, nature seasons. And then there's seasons of life where it changes because of the weather or because of school starting, or there's just so many different things that our lives revolve around, and we can figure out how to best navigate that. And yeah, I mean, I love waking up at 5 a.m. sometimes, but not all the time. I slept until 8 this morning, and I don't feel bad about it because I was enjoying time we just got a new puppy and we were cuddling with him in bed. And that's important to, continue to embrace these moments of like, I'm so lucky that I have a schedule where I can spend that extra hour and just like spend time with my husband and our new puppy. Like, that's so great. I'm so fortunate.
It is. It's so important to have that time. But now let me ask you this, as a business owner and being on social media and all the rest of it, everybody's like, you've got to be consistent. So if you're going to wake up at 5 a.m., you're going to wake up at 5 a.m. every day. So how do we balance that consistency?
Yeah, well, I think if it's showing up on social media, there's so many amazing tools and things that you can use, because consistency on social media is like so important as a business owner. That's how you connect with your people, and that's how you speak to your tribe. But there's so many tools and so many things, like the scheduling things that you can use. I mean, when I'm feeling it, I'll plan out my social media. I'll plan out my, time to be able to do my different days, and then I'll set it up where I know I can send it out. I know a robot's going to do that for me. Or even hiring people. I think that's the other thing as an entrepreneur. If you are able to hire people or get help from people, that's really what is important, because I'm a high achiever. I call myself a recovering perfectionist, because I always thought I had to do it myself. And if I didn't do it myself, then I was less than and I wasn't good. And asking for help, I think, is another thing that is really like, it's okay. It's not a weakness. We all need help. You think of all these really successful people, they didn't get there just by themselves. Maybe they had that idea, but they have a team around them. So that's one thing that, is showing up on social media or emailing or talking with people. Hire people if you can. If you can't, the other thing is, like, sometimes I don't answer my social media for a day, and people are like, oh my gosh, why? Well, the thing is, if they're going to be demanding of my time, they're probably not the best people to really like interact with. Like, I'm probably not going to want to pull them into my world, because they're not necessarily like somebody that I need to be able to, like, I don't want to be on call for people, and I think we have to get out of this instant gratification mindset. that you don't have to answer right away. Like that email is okay to sit for a day. It's okay. Like unless it's life or death or it's urgent, it's happening the next day, just let it sit. It's okay. You know, and that's what I teach people. Just let it go. It's not a big deal.
That's so hard. And for me, I have become like that I can't leave anything. If it's not answered immediately,
Yeah.
then I can get like anxious.
Yes, you get that anxiety. Yeah. That's why I did a post, I don't know, maybe last week or something about like inbox zero is a bunch of BS, because you have this anxiety of like, if my inbox is not zero on all platforms, then like you have to sit with something not being done. And so I teach my clients to sit with like, your to-do list is not going to get done. And that comes from me having to overcome that. You know, like I was check the box, write 150 things on my to-do list. And if I didn't get it done, then I was a failure that day. But that's not by whose standards? Yours. So you just have to overcome that and learn how to sit with tasks and sit with an inbox of whatever amount of emails or DMs.
So you've mentioned 3 things I think that we should just recap for
yes, I know. I talked a lot.
Yeah. Scheduling, I think very important. As you said, sit back, plan your content for social media, plan your week. Do you plan your week or do you plan your month? How do you work?
I do at least a week, sometimes 2. If I do more than that, I find for me, I just get overwhelmed. Like it's just too much. I know people who do a whole month and that gives me anxiety. Like that's too many drafts. That's too many things. I feel like I think a week or 2, that's good. That's a good, for me, that's my balance. But it's different for everyone. There's no one size fits all. So.
Exactly. Then the second thing was hire people. And I always say, hire somebody that does the job better than you can. We all think we're perfect in every area and we can do it better. But I have actually learned that sometimes I don't enjoy doing certain things.
Sure. Yeah.
You know, I don't enjoy working on Canva, or I don't enjoy doing this. Then hire somebody else that loves to do that, because they will do a better job than you.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the figuring out the things that you don't like to do in your business and then hiring out for those. Like I hate emails. I don't like copywriting. I just don't like writing. So I hire out for that. I love being able to just be in my zone of genius. So that's important to pick up on that. Yeah.
I love that. Your zone of genius. Oh, perfection.
I didn't make it up. But yes, I think about that often when I'm like, is this like really serving like my time the best? No? Okay, I'll pass it on to somebody else. Yeah.
And then the third thing was, you don't have to respond immediately.
Yes.
Take a breath.
It's really hard because we live in an instant gratification world.
And I think with COVID, it got even worse because there were even more people online, social media, you know, we could get an immediate response. I think it really did make the problem far worse.
Yeah. And I'm not saying like let it sit for like ever or like a week or, you know, like it's okay to not immediately respond. If it's responding versus spending time with your people or having dinner uninterrupted or doing an activity with your significant other versus like answering an email, let the email go and it'll be okay. You know, I had a client who was like, I have to answer these emails. I'm like, why? Has anyone ever said like, you didn't answer my email fast enough? No? Okay, then it's okay. Like they can put your phone on an hour of do not disturb and it'll be okay. And she was like, wow, it was okay. You know, it's scary to try something new. And that's why you need coaches to push you, tell you it's going to be okay, and try something new with somebody, not on your own. And usually it's okay.
And if it's not okay, we'll try again, right?
Exactly. And, you know, I talk a lot about progress over perfection. You know, if it doesn't work for you, okay, we can readjust. it might not work the first time. Your strategy might not be exactly what your business needs or exactly what suits you. And that's the trial and error. Is like, I know people get a lot of anxiety because they want it to be perfect the first time, but it's not always the case. I mean, I'm right there with you. I think all business owners, if we could have the first time we did something, it'd be amazing, then, we'd be happy with it. But that's not life.
That's not life, indeed.
Yeah.
Right, we're coming up for our first break. So I think we will stop here and then dive right back in after this commercial. I'm Hayley Sue, your host, and we're talking to Kate Benner about busting the hustle. We'll be right back.
Whether money, addiction, spirituality, real estate, or relationships, Open Mic on Inspired Choices Network discusses it all, with a focus on bringing conscious voices and topics to the world. ICN features speakers, podcasters, and professionals from around the world. Do you have something inspiring to say? Get on the air today with the Inspired Choices Network Open Mic Show. The Open Mic Show is your time to shine and inspire our global audience. Claim your spot today. Simply contact our network at openmic@inspiredchoicesnetwork.com. Forget the days of 5 minutes of fame. Now you can have 55 minutes of fame.
Are you a subject matter expert? Are you here to share your expertise with an audience waiting to hear from you in only the way you can deliver? Are you ready to have your voice amplified across the airwaves? Inspired Choices Network has a global radio platform streaming to millions of people across the world. Professionally produced and supported by an accomplished team every step of the way, you can broadcast from anywhere in the world, knowing your voice matters, and we ensure it is delivered with ease and efficiency. Eager to hear your message, the world awaits. Contact us today to become an Inspired Choices Network radio host. Email becomeahost@inspiredchoicesnetwork.com.
You are listening to the Open Mic Show here on Inspired Choices Network. To participate in the program, join our live studio audience in our chat room at inspiredchoicesnetwork.com. Now, back to the show.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Open Mic Show on Inspired Choices Network. I'm talking to Kate Benner, and we are chatting about busting the hustle that we have become so accustomed to. I think so many entrepreneurs were born during COVID, actually. And
yeah. Yeah, that's all. I mean, it's great, but yes, for so many reasons.
Right. And so I was just having a look at your website earlier, and I love that phrase, I will be happy when. When I have this amount of money in my bank account, when I am married, when I have bought my house, when I have bought my car. Oh my goodness, what is your expected date of happiness, Kate?
Oh, whoa. That's a great question. Now.
Yay!
Yeah,
that's the right answer.
Okay, I would. What do I win? Yeah, I mean that was not a phrase my husband kind of came up and said to me at one point. Like, when are you going? Because I was stressed out all the time. Hustle, hustle, hustle. I got to get this client. I got to make this course. I got to. And he was like, when are you going to be happy? Like, is there a date? Is there a time? Like, this is getting to the point where you're ignoring me. All of your time is directed at the business. And he's like, that's great. I'm really proud of you. I want this to work. But like, you have to enjoy the process, because if you don't enjoy the now and you don't enjoy the happiness of what you have around you, you're going to miss a lot of different steps. And you'll always, even when you get to that point of, a money or a house or a car, or whatever your dream-ish is, you'll always want more. I mean, it's human nature, especially as women, we crave more, and that's okay, but it's important to enjoy the present and the now, because you're going to miss a whole lot.
Right. So what would be your number one thing on how to stay present?
Oh, that's a great Great question. There's so many ways, but I think my most favorite way is every morning. And this is one thing I really try to be consistent with. Doesn't matter what time, what, hour of the day I wake up. You could also do this when you go to bed. It's a great way to fall asleep. Is I write out or I think about the 5 things I'm grateful for. And I know there's a lot of talk about that, like gratitude list, but I think it's really powerful because it switches your brain to see all the things that are around you that are great. And there's so many things in my life now that a year ago I was like yearning for, and I have them now. And so just remembering like, it's just because I'm not exactly where I want to be, it's still, there's a lot of joy and magical things happening around me. And you don't even have to write it down. I mean, it's really powerful to write things down. I recommend that over typing. But even thinking about it as you fall asleep, it'll help you kind of relax, bring you to center, and like just think about, or even speaking it out to your partner or to the mirror, whatever you want to do. That's my favorite way.
Oh, I love that, because I also always say have a routine that you have in the morning or in the evening when you go to bed, right? But it doesn't matter what time it is. Just have that routine of doing certain things, and gratitude is always on that list of things that you should have.
Yeah.
If you're not grateful for what you have right now, and it always amazes me, when I post on Facebook about a beautiful sunrise as I have to run to the shop because there's no bread in the house for breakfast, at 7 a.m. before school time for the kids. People are like, you always see the bright side of things, and you're so happy. Like some people would stomp out the house and be like, no bread. And I'm like, look at the sunrise. Isn't it amazing?
Right. Well, it's the little things too. I started doing that gratitude when I had left teaching. I had no idea what I was doing. I was probably at a pretty low point, like didn't have a job, didn't really know, my ideas hadn't really come to fruition of what I wanted to do. And there were things like, I'm happy for like my seltzer water, like just silly things. I'm proud of my handwriting. Like it doesn't have to be, I think when people think of gratitude, they think huge, big, I'm proud of my house, my car. It doesn't have to be big. These small little, I like my hair today. I mean, it doesn't have to be anything insane, because that's why sometimes when I say keep it to 5, I mean, I feel like I could do like 100 things, because there's so many things when you really think about it, you probably are thankful for.
Well, but it's a muscle that you need to
exactly
fix, isn't it? Because
right.
When you first start doing it, you're like, well, what am I grateful for? That I had a cup of tea this morning. I don't know.
Right. It's totally a muscle. And I think that's why, you're saying like, oh, you look at the sunrise or the sunset and you're like, wow, I'm looking outside and the wind's blowing. It's cool to look at the trees. Like, it's nice to have this view. I mean, it's because your brain is starting to go on like an autopilot, because your brain is just as much a muscle as any other muscle that you work out. And I think when people start realizing that your mindset is something you need to exercise and you need to practice, that's when the big changes happen, because it's all about repetition. And if you try it once and you're like, it didn't work. Well, you tried it once. You do one bicep curl. Oh, you're not big and strong. Or you did one ab crunch. You don't have abs because you did it once. It's the same thing with your mindset, and switching on to being more grateful and more present is not something that's going to happen when you do it one time. It takes time and effort.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I've been practicing the mindset for a good few years. So that comes really easy for me. But when I go to the gym and I do one sit up, I'm like, oh, look at my six pack.
I mean, we all do it though. It ties back to the instant gratification. If it's not mindset, it's working out or eating, like I ate one healthy meal today. Why didn't I lose 5 pounds? It's just all this, it's all interconnected with this understanding of like, oh, it's instant. Everything's instant these days, like instant ramen noodles, instant this, you have to get out of that container of thinking things are going to happen right away.
I couldn't agree more. I couldn't agree more. Like it's such a human thing, not wanting to wait, right?
Yeah.
We want everything now. I mean, just they started playing Christmas stuff on the radio the other day. And my kids were they're like, Mom, but we haven't even had Halloween.
Oh, that is preparation. I mean, I'm all about preparation, but holy cow, that's way too, it's October.
I know. It's totally insane. And again, I mean, I'm from South Africa, just moved to the UK, and yeah, it's insane how much you have to book and be so prepared in advance for everything here. It's really weird. It really doesn't work with my flow.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, it's interesting too, thinking, I work with people all over the world, and there's a cultural dynamic too. When people come to me, there's different, it's interesting to hear from, people in the US versus people in Europe versus people in Australia. I mean, there's different cultural expectations. But I feel like anywhere you go, instant gratification is like worldwide. It's something because we're so interconnected, which is amazing. Like I'm in California, you're in the UK. I just interviewed someone in Connecticut. And last week I interviewed someone in New Zealand. That's amazing. But it's a double-edged sword. We have to practice patience,
Oh, practicing patience.
Oh, it's hard.
One of the things that I often do in my morning routine is contemplate patience, because patience is definitely not my virtue.
Yeah, well, I don't really know if it's anyone's virtue. I mean, I think it's something that you have to practice. I think every person has to practice. I have yet to meet somebody who's like, I don't know, that they can just practice this like sitting and being. It's something you have to work on, because from a young age we're taught, it's instant, like this, now, mine.
Yeah. And even when we get to that moment that we've wanted, right, that we've been waiting for, that gratification, you kind of in the moment, and you don't even know you're in the moment, and you're moving on because you're like, where's the next thing? So that's not even being present. You kind of rush to where you want to be, and then you're on to the next thing. And did you even realize that was what you'd been asking for?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that we have this, part of my work is understanding that inner critic and figuring out how to kind of convert your inner critic to work with you, because usually your inner critic, even when you meet that expectation of, the car, the house, the money, whatever, it's like, okay, you did it, but now you need to do it again before you lose it. You got to keep going. And so, yeah, you feel guilty for enjoying that moment. Maybe someone goes out for a dinner, or, has a champagne piece of cake, whatever, and then they move on, but they don't really relish in the moment of like, holy cow, I created this. We feel guilty for celebrating, and I really encourage my clients to celebrate, like, holy cow, you did that, even if it's small, like you woke up and you did your workout or whatever, you woke up and you got a client. Oh my gosh, let's celebrate that. It's important to celebrate, because that's what brings about the presence of like enjoying what you've created.
And celebration is such an important part of the process. And we often skip that part just because we are rushing on to that next thing. I'm in the moment. I've got to keep going. Hustle.
Yeah. And it takes time to just pull back, because there's that inner critic is like, you're lazy, you're not doing enough, you're not being enough. And we're human beings, not human doings, is a mentor told me once. And I was like, oh yeah, I need to be more of a human being. I can't do all this stuff all the time and enjoy what I've created.
And then you come to the burnout, because you've been doing.
Yeah. And burnout is hard to come back from. It happens, and manifests in not being motivated, or being like, I don't want to get out of bed, or there's all of these different things tied to it, and it takes a really long time to get out of it. And just like any other sort of situation, it's all about that preventative measures to take. So I work with people who are well past that burnout, and I work with people who are right before, and we talk about, the signs of burnout and how to like not get to that point, because it's really hard to undo that, Yeah.
Oh, I just feel like there's so much to discuss here, Kate. But we're going to go for our second commercial break now. And when we come back, I'd love to dive right back into this. But I also want to let people know how and where and why they should work with you. So you are listening to Hayley Sue on the Inspired Choices Network on Open Mic. We're talking to Kate Benner, and we'll be right back.
Whether money, addiction, spirituality, real estate, or relationships, Open Mic on Inspired Choices Network discusses it all, with a focus on bringing conscious voices and topics to the world. ICN features speakers, podcasters, and professionals from around the world. Do you have something inspiring to say? Get on the air today with the Inspired Choices Network Open Mic Show. The Open Mic Show is your time to shine and inspire our global audience. Claim your spot today. Simply contact our network at openmic@inspiredchoicesnetwork.com. Forget the days of 5 minutes of fame. Now you can have 55 minutes of fame.
How wonderful would it be to carry your favorite Inspired Choices Network host with you throughout your day? Well, now you can. Inspired Choices Network now has its very own mobile app. Our free app offers live streaming shows, along with thousands of podcasts and TV episodes. Our shows cover a wide variety of topics. Whether you're waking up with us, carrying us through the day, and taking us to bed with you, we're always here for you to enjoy. We're easy to find. Just search for Inspired Choices Network in the Apple App Store or Google Play Store.
You are listening to the Open Mic Show here on Inspired Choices Network. To participate in the program, join our live studio audience in our chat room at inspiredchoicesnetwork.com. Now, back to the show.
Welcome back, everybody. We're talking to Kate Benner about busting the hustle. So tell us, Kate, at this point, how people can get hold of you, what it is, what it looks like to actually work with you.
Yeah, absolutely. So I hang out mainly on Instagram and Facebook and TikTok. Those are my three big, I have different reasons for different, TikTok's just kind of more fun and it's silly. And you can find me
so much business.
Yeah. Yes. Oh yeah. I originally got on, this is an aside, but I originally got on TikTok when I was a teacher because my students showed me it. And we used to do the dances. They used to teach me. I was that teacher that was like, yeah, let's do the dances. And then it transformed into my business. And it is a really great way to connect with people, I think, really authentically. I mean, I love Instagram and Facebook for other reasons, but TikTok, you can just let your freak flag fly. I mean, I don't know. It's just, there's something about, you feel very free on that. Facebook feels a little more businessy, and then Instagram's a little more in between. So, at least in my opinion, but Instagram and TikTok, you can find me at Kate_Benner_. And then on Facebook, it's just Kate Benner. And then of course my website, which I love, it's hot pink. It's, my baby. It's just www.katebenner.com. And yeah, so working with me right now, I do a 12-month container. It's a group coaching program. And the reason I like 12 months is because it's a long journey. I feel like it's taken me time, and I And I feel like that 12 months is an authentic way to change. I used to do more short, one-on-one coaching sessions, and I just didn't feel like I was able to help people because it's a journey. And I love the group coaching aspect of it because it's a community. And one of the things that was important to me when I became an entrepreneur was finding community and finding like-minded people who I could connect with. I mean, some of my closest friends I've found because, I found them in an entrepreneurial group. And so I really want to connect people. And that's why I love the community aspect of it. But we work through, the inner critic telling you all of those negativity, you're not good enough, you're less than, and then figuring out solutions to help you show up presently in your business and in your life.
Amazing. Amazing. And how often do you meet?
Yeah, great question. So we meet twice a month. It's usually about an hour long, but I don't cap it at an hour. If we have questions and we have things that we want to talk about and we want to just hang out and socialize, it's open. It's not a hard, it's an hour, because I think that sometimes processes I want everyone to be heard in the group, and I want everyone to come and ask their questions and connect with the people. So, but yeah, and then you get one-on-one support via WhatsApp. So, there's times where you're is this, you're going through, I'm feeling, we call the inner critic the gremlin. Is the gremlin's coming up? This is the narrative I need help sorting out, the thought process. So, you have unlimited access to me via WhatsApp, which is usually where all of the magic really, really happens, is being able to work through those daily thoughts.
That's amazing. Amazing, Kate. Thank you. Yeah, I hope that our viewers and listeners will reach out to you and actually bust this hustle culture that we are building. And, what scares me is having children is they see us work all the time, that they learn the behavior from us, right? As you said, your dad was an attorney, and so that was normal to work a 70-hour a week.
Yeah. I think that's why, if you feel why work with me, is because I've been in your shoes. I know what you're thinking. I've thought, and I probably still do think. That's the thing is the inner critic and that hustle mindset, it's always going to live in you because it's been conditioned, but you can work with it and you can figure out how to convert it into your best asset. So figuring out the routines and the mindset piece, it can happen. I'm an example. I think usually we're our best case studies, we're our best testimonials. It's I've been there. That's why I created this program. And I know that it can work for anybody, because I was probably honestly my worst client, because I was super resistant to all types of slowing down and being present, because I grew up in the hustle culture, and that was my career as a teacher. I think that's probably one of the if you look in the US, when you think of underpaid, overworked, there we go. That's the phrase. You think teachers. And so, I've been there, I've done that, and I can identify with you when you're going through what you're going through.
And just, what was I going to say? It's gone right out of my head again.
All good. It happens.
See that hustle mindset, that just thinking of the next thing, not being in the moment, right? And then, it's all gone out of my head. Oops.
But that's honestly, I struggle with that too. It's the talk, you're listening to talk next rather than listening and internalizing it. And there's strategies that you can use to try to figure out, trying to be in the present moment and try to respond authentically. And it's okay when people are ooh, I forgot what I was going to say. It'll usually come back around, but I think it's more important to, be listening and understanding. And if you forget it, it's oh, well.
Wasn't meant to be said.
Meant to be.
I was going to ask you a question, I'm sure, about
teaching.
what does your husband now say about business and you? Does he still feel like you still hustle a whole lot, or?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think he understand we had to really sit down as a couple too and figure out our schedule, because when you have another person or you have a family, you have to, unfortunately, like, I mean, not, it's fortunately, but unfortunately, there's other people in the equation. There's other people in the picture. And that's what makes it even more complicated, is you have to figure out their schedule, and you have to, now it's like when he goes to work, that's when I really time out my day and I bust out what I need to do. Same thing with kids, figuring out what's the best time of day to sit down and be able to get through your work. And knowing that when they're home or when he's home, you need to shut it down, because that's probably another thing, is like the placement of your computer or your office, and figuring out how to like actually shut it down and working through switching off the work energy into the life energy. And we've both really had to work on that. And I think I hope he can confidently say that I have worked through it and I am more present than ever. I think there's always room for improvement, and I don't believe in perfection. My motto is progress over perfection. So there are days where it slips and I am working probably more than he would like, but there's an open dialogue, and there's me kind of checking myself day to day, like, did I work too much? Was I present? Was I a good, was I not good? Or was I, a present, I don't like using the word good wife, but a present wife, I think is more our kind of style. So I think he can confidently say I'm better. Well, he really liked the direction of the business when I said to him, I'm going to go this way. He's like, thank God. Finally.
I just think that's like the biggest thing that you've said, is get your schedules together. If you're in a family unit and there's other people living in the home that you want to be present with, I think that is of utmost importance. And what a clever thing to do is just sit down and go, right, your schedule, my schedule, kids' schedule. How do we, and even if your schedules don't really allow for a lot of time to be together, just go, right, we'll take this half an hour here and that half an hour there, or that hour there, and that's your time. We're going to walk away, whatever, go on a date with your son, take him out for coffee, whatever it is, so that it's, real one-on-one time, not this, oh yes, I'm, it's your time now, but let me just check this on my phone. Let me just,
Yeah. Well, it's when you have, like, even if it's only 30 minutes or whatever it is, when you have true focused present time, it's so much more valuable than the like half, put together. You're over here, your mind's wandering, and learning how to shift between those two things, because there's energy that you bring to your business that's different than the energy that you bring to your spouse or to your family or to your friends, and learning how to go in between those two things. As high achievers, it's really hard for us to shift. And so learning what is the routine to shut down so that I can be present and then re-up into my workspace. Like, it's different for everybody though, and sometimes it doesn't perfectly come in the way that you want, and learning to be accepting of it's not always going to be perfect. It's okay to, oh, I gotta do this, or I'm all about understanding that you're not going to be perfect. It's okay. It's okay.
It is really okay not to be perfect, and not take the work call, or, obviously if it's really important, or if you know it's going to be a big client, then yes, cool. But more often than not, they will call back, or if not, they can leave a voicemail, or an email, or a whatever, a Facebook Messenger, or there's 50 million different ways to get in contact with somebody these days,
totally.
right?
And that's the other thing we talked about previously, just walking away from unfinished to-do lists, or, not having an inbox zero, like sitting and being okay with walking away, going on a date with your son or your husband or whoever, knowing that there is stuff to come back to. That was a huge game changer for me, being like, it's okay. I'm just going to leave this to-do list. Doesn't mean that I'm going to forget about it. Just means it's going to sit for a second.
Well, right. It's not going anywhere.
Right. Yeah. Where is it going?
The things that you had to do are still going to be on that list when you come back.
Right.
So,
right.
Go and take that half an hour or whatever it is of intense time with the person that you love and want to actually spend time with, because I know so many people, so many people say this, COVID has taught us to really honor life, and what are we working for if we don't get to spend time with the people that we love?
Absolutely. Yeah, you can, I say to people, you can be the best provider in the world, but if you are not present with the people that you're providing for, what's the point? If you're not sitting and actually spending quality time with your people, then there's no point of working 24/7, because you'll never get that time back. I think, you kind of talked about in the beginning of the interview with your kid growing up, you're just like, how did I miss, like, oh my God, you're 14. Where did the time go? I think everyone feels that, oh, where did the time go? And so understanding that you need to be present, so you're not here to work. On your deathbed, I doubt what you're going to be saying is, I wish I worked more. What you're going to be saying is, I wish I spent more time with my people.
Right. Okay, we're going to go for our last commercial break, and then we're going to come back and wrap this interview up. You are listening to Haley Sue, and we're talking to Kate Benner on the Open Mic on Inspired Choices Network.
Whether money, addiction, spirituality, real estate, or relationships, Open Mic on Inspired Choices Network discusses it all, with a focus on bringing conscious voices and topics to the world. ICN features speakers, podcasters, and professionals from around the world. Do you have something inspiring to say? Get on the air today with the Inspired Choices Network Open Mic Show. The Open Mic Show is your time to shine and inspire our global audience. Claim your spot today. Simply contact our network at openmic@inspiredchoicesnetwork.com. Forget the days of 5 minutes of fame. Now you can have 55 minutes of fame.
How wonderful would it be to carry your favorite Inspired Choices Network host with you throughout your day? Well, now you can. Inspired Choices Network now has its very own mobile app. Our free app offers live streaming shows, along with thousands of podcasts and TV episodes. Our shows cover a wide variety of topics. Whether you're waking up with us, carrying us through the day, and taking us to bed with you, we're always here for you to enjoy. We're easy to find. Just search for Inspired Choices Network in the Apple App Store or Google Play Store.
You are listening to the Open Mic Show here on Inspired Choices Network. To participate in the program, join our live studio audience in our chat room at inspiredchoicesnetwork.com. Now, back to the show.
Welcome back, everybody. So, Kate, what's playing in my head right now is, how do we help, or not help, but how do we show people that because it's money, right? And I feel like we should have maybe touched on this at the beginning of the show, because this could be a huge topic. The case for money, it's that hustle. I've got to make my next dollar, right? What would be your one trick or tip so people can just know that they will be okay, not pushing for that all the time?
Yeah, I think it goes back to that you can be the greatest provider But if you're not like really at the end of the day, yes, money and everything is honestly capitalism is driven by money. And of course we need money to survive. And I don't, doubt that for a minute that that's a fear. But understanding that if you want to be present with your people, it's okay to maybe not earn that extra whatever. What's meant to be will come back around. And I think when you show up and you're present with your family and your people, that money will eventually come in. And learning to accept that it's okay to not have, like, I think it's like this fear mindset and just switching on to being more just okay and just all right with what you do have, and anything else is bonus, because the quality and being present with your people is like the thing in life to attach yourself to. Because again, you can be the best provider in the world, you can earn all this money, but if you're not with your people, what's it all for? There really isn't a reason.
There really isn't a reason, right? And as you say, taking a half an hour break, what is that really going to make you in your business?
Yeah.
If you are being present with somebody you love.
Right. Because when
more than anything else.
Right. And when we look at people's schedules, it's not like taking, weeks or months off. It's figuring out sometimes, absolutely, vacations are necessary, but it's figuring out how to shut down at 4 or 5 or whatever time, working 4 hours a day. I mean, it's you're probably not getting done. You could probably get done what you do in that 4-hour chunk in an hour if you sit down, you're actually present in your business, because a lot of times we're like, octopus. We got arms in every little thing going on. So it's really figuring out how to be super hyper focused and being okay with, like, I probably got done all of my work that I normally do in a 4-hour period in a 2-hour period, and being able to use that other 2 hours with your person. It's okay. It's those little tiny shifts. They're not big macro changes. They're little micro day-to-day changes.
Schedule, get focused, laser focused, and hire those people to help you.
Yes.
Right? I think the top 3 tips from this interview to take with me, that just could change your whole life if you just have a schedule, be focused in your business and with the people that you love.
Yeah.
And hire out the stuff that you don't like to do, so that you don't have the 8 arms in all the different pies, right?
Yes. You don't want to be the octopus. You want to, be the person who's focusing on what you're doing. Yeah. Scheduling is like the biggest thing, and not winging it. Like, I think a lot of people, because you're an entrepreneur, you don't really have a set schedule. So what I like to do is sit down and figure out what my next day looks like at the end of my previous day. Like, what do I need to get done in this chunk of time that I have? You can't wing it. Like, I don't know anybody who can wake up and be like, I'm going to do this today and be productive. I mean, if there is somebody, show me. So yeah, scheduling is really, the cornerstone of being able to bust the hustle. Yeah.
And there it is, ladies.
There it is.
And there it is. Well, we are coming to the end of our show, Kate, and I really appreciate having you on here. And I think this is such an important topic, and amazing that you have created a business around it. I mean, genius. Absolutely.
Oh, thank you. So sweet.
So if you are looking for Kate, you can go to katebenner.com. That's Kate, BENNER.com, or you can find her on Facebook, Instagram, as we said, all the different outlets.
All the fun places, yeah.
All those fun, amazing places that we play on a daily basis.
Just look for the pink. Yes, that's really, that's me. Even though I'm wearing a black shirt, I told you I like grunge or pink. It's one or the other.
Thank you so much, Kate, and thank you to all our listeners and viewers on Open Mic. And if you have a special message or an inspiring message that you want to bring to the world, please reach out to me, Hayley@inspiredchoicesnetwork.com. I would be so happy to interview you here on Open Mic. Happy Magical Monday, all you beautiful people. We'll see you next time. Thank you, Kate.
Thank you for listening to the Open Mic Show today. We look forward to having you join us next time, where we will have another inspiring guest sharing what they know with the Inspired Choices Network world. We look forward to having you join us again. Until then, remember, your voice is a gift and your message inspiring.